nothing appeals to me more, like personally, than episodes of Star Trek that talk about yields on investment here on Future Police. Vile visit the Bajor. My name is Joseph.
And I am your co-host, Peter, as portrayed by Jeffrey Combs.
Oh, we'll get to Jeff. Jeff's first recurring character on Deep Space Nine, and not his
one of
last.
Many.
Yes.
The resume starts here.
What did we watch this week, Peter?
We watched Family Business. This is going to be season 3, episode 23. First aired May 15th, 1995. Written by Ira Stephen Bear and Robert Hewitt Wolf. Directed by Renee Odo. I'm not going to say his last name because we always get...
we always do it wrong, and I think we've embraced it. You know?
Avengeros? I don't know. How do we want to say it today?
It's French.
In Universe 8, 2371.
So this is a Ferengi nonsense episode.
Is it?
As we are often either treated to / subjected to, depending on the entry. I think this is a treated to version of the Ferengi nonsense episode.
Ferengi Deep Space Nine episodes. Let's see what
does AI spit out at you? What are all the Ferengi Deep Space Nine episodes?
The Nagus,
okay,
which I liked.
Yeah.
Rules Acquisition, which I liked.
Yeah.
Rivals. I don't know if
I hated Rivals. I would say that's a Ferengi focus episode, but it's a Ferengi nonsense episode.
I thought Rivals was okay.
Profit
and Loss. That was the one with Pell, right?
That's a Rules of Acquisition.
Which one was Profit and Loss?
Yeah, it's the one with his Cardassian girlfriend that was the terrorist.
Then, not to be confused with his Klingon girlfriend, which was House of Quark.
So this is all Quark episodes. This isn't Ferengi nonsense episodes.
Yeah, this is some Reddit post.
Okay.
Listen, if it's a Ferengi episode, it's going to be a Quark episode. And that's the built-in secret of why they're able to do these. The only Ferengi episode, nonsense episode, that I have not liked was Profit Motive. There was better ways to do it. It was too much nonsense.
I feel like it was saved from total irrelevance by the fact you got to watch Quark successfully negotiate with the Prophets. But yes, for the most part, it is a failed idea that did not have enough meat on the bone to make it work. And this is the opposite, because you just have tons of Ferengi content, like about their society, that really helps make the story engage you a little bit more. You're like paying attention to the details.
The Ferengi stories are civilian life in the Alpha Quadrant stories. It's a look that we don't usually get at Earth. It's a look outside the Federation. Usually it's got some strong actors, and yeah, there are humorous elements, but I am confident when I say that I don't feel like it's just pure slapstick fluff. Like, they do great world building. I like these Ferengi episodes. I liked this Ferengi episode. We had a conversation a while ago that one of the defining features of Deep Space Nine, to really set it apart from TNG and Voyager and later on Enterprise, is this is the one show where you have a lot of different family units in play. TNG did have the Crushers, and it did have Worf and Alexander. But you and I both know those were such tertiary storylines that maybe twice a season you would see something like that. Half the time you could watch an episode of TNG and there would be no clue whatsoever that Worf was a father. Thankfully, Wesley got sent away, so Crusher got to go back to being just...
horny for ghosts.
I hate that. But I mean, they took her off the entire, second season for Pulowski, right?
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine, you got the O'Brien household, you got the Sisko household, you got Quark and his brother and his nephew. It's all over the place, and I would say each of them is a great storyline in and of itself. This one was excellent.
It is one of those things where it's like it's playing a lot of things for laughs. You know, it's playing things for absurd laughs. But at its core, it's telling a real story, and it's really trying to hit home on Quark trying to authentically navigate a very challenging circumstance that he has both with his family and his society in a way where he's not actually the bad guy. He's just somebody who idolized his father, which is extremely relatable, right? Like when the focus of the episode finally turns as to like what is this really all about, it has to do with some of the concepts we've already discussed, which is what is Quark's insecurity about being a Ferengi, about his level of success, about the choices he's made such that he's not as successful as he should be, that we've already talked about, that he's revealed. And that's probably the reason why he has a certain view of his father that Rom doesn't share. He's, like any man, idealizing a version of his parental figure that he prefers to be true rather than what may have actually been true.
Rom, meanwhile, crazy strong episode for him. I would say this is easily his best episode to this point in terms of turning him into a real character. And there's a couple moments in there specifically where his mom's like, Quark's lucky to have such a good brother. Like, Rom, you want to tell Moogie about how you've tried to blow your brother up?
With a drone? You tried to drone strike your brother?
Space him out an airlock and like legit attempts on his life? Like this.
Yeah, we've talked about the hard pivot, right?
Yeah.
The Rom hard pivot was they decided to turn him into a doofy, sidekick to his brother. Well-meaning, but kind of like with naive and without low cunning. And it clashes with season 1 where Rom that was, trying to murder the man with a drone. And so it's a hard pivot. They're not saying it didn't happen, but we are kind of acting like it didn't happen, right? That's not the character we decided he is, ultimately.
It was just a phase. He grew out of it.
And so I'll go with the flow a little bit on that, right? Like, okay, look, this is who you've actually want to establish Rom as. And it's like you say, it's a much better character this way. Because it allows him to manifest the more familial depth that Quark lacks. It gives their relationship a degree of balance. We started to see this in Heart of Stone when Rom put his foot down and said, like, I'm the one that makes the decision on what Nog gets to do and not do. And you're going to, you, Quark, have to just listen. That's how this works. And this is where I think they firmly have like figured out what Rom is in all of this, right? Like, we're seeing more and more of this whole thing about him being a tech genius with the hyper lock on the bar that even O'Brien can't get through. And that, his core competency is emotional intelligence. He might have the lobes for business, but he has the lobes for personal interactions and the soft part of life.
Yeah, the soft part of life from the guy who tried to blow his brother up.
Yeah, hard pivot.
Pay no attention to this man behind the curtain of season 2. You got the good family dynamic going on here, and you've got the apparatus of the state. And this is something that's come up frequently with these Ferengi discussions is,
yes,
what does Ferenginar look like exactly? What is the Nagus truly? Where does personal wealth and influence end and stately trappings begin?
How does a society based on pure avarice actually manage to function? Well, it's because it's also like steeped deeply in a set of esoteric rules and social expectations such that there's a strange sense of balance that enters over it. And this isn't something I want to emphasize too much, but we've touched on it before, and that is the actor of Quark, the actor of Rom, the actor of Zek, and Ira Stephen Bear. They have one thing in common. They're all Jewish. And there is an element to the Ferengi society that I think has a relationship with that helps ground the more absurd things of it. The ritualistic nature of some of the societal norms, the sort of strictness of adherence, the almost legalistic way, the Talmudic ways in which Ferengi society sort of unveils itself through the episode. I don't think that any of that is a coincidence. It comes from some real lived experience from the people who made it. And I don't think it's intended to be stereotypical. I don't think it's intended to like be satirical. I don't think it's doing any dishonor, but it is a real element here that helps ground everything and make it feel more real than it otherwise would.
To that end, these rules of acquisition, the sacred marketplace,
the
there
Tower
are
of Commerce, you know,
elements of this society and this government that blend with the spirit of capitalism and almost manifested as religious.
Mm-hmm.
There is no religion formally that we have seen out of the Ferengi, but it's clear that they worship the prophet.
They worship
Ben Sisko.
They worship their rules in a way. Like the whole discussion that Ishka has with Quark about how you really understand the rules of acquisition, all 256 of them. It's like such a, you know, you understand the Talmudic sort of reading of this information such that you are better at actualizing it and better at understanding it than your brother who's memorized the words but doesn't get the meaning, right?
Mm.
And that's where it becomes this sort of blending of a real world element and a sort of, we were okay, let's apply it to the sci-fi world where we're have this pseudo religious affectation for the societal rules that govern this entire society, because that's the only way something like this could possibly work. That's why that's why you and I are so fascinated by it.
Lots to discuss on this one, man. And we start with always a bad omen for Quark, and it is business seeming to go well. And I want to say the last time we saw Quark really doing well for himself, it was the closing of the deal of the self-sealing stem bolts.
Yes.
Right before the Nagus Zek showed up and ruined everything for him.
I will say technically this isn't the first scene of the episode, because the B plot actually begins the episode.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Because we got to cut first to Sisko cooking, because it's his thing. He's making chicken paprika. It's Mr. New Orleans making Hungarian food, whatever.
Yeah, well, it's a blending of cultures.
You know, he's happy because he managed to pull some sort of diplomatic deal with some race we've never heard of, and Jake calls it out. And really all of this is to set up for the B plot, which is everybody trying to get Benjamin Sisko to go and meet and go on a date with Cassidy Yates. Everybody's in on it. Jake, he is dead set on hooking his dad up with a girlfriend, and he has got the soul read that this is the woman for him. And he is not just personally invested in making this matchmaking happen. He has now included the entirety of the rest of the Deep Space Nine crew in ensuring that Commander Sisko gets a girlfriend out of this. And it's kind of charming and heartwarming in a way that doesn't feel forced. It's funny. It's light. Sisko is properly annoyed by everybody, but not too much. And
Jake, I think we're moving too fast. Jake, I didn't want to tell you this. And I know you care for me. But while I was over there in the mirror universe, Jake, I fucked everybody we know.
I fucked Kira. I fucked Dax. Did it all. Seen it all.
The only person I didn't fuck was your mother, and I had a lovely time with her. My romance meter limit break is gone. I am spent, Jake. I need to restock the fluids. I need to drink some Gatorade.
I have to consult Starfleet regulations about having possibly impregnated women in another parallel universe, and if that violates the Prime Directive.
What is the? Let's see. They're all governed by what, the Cardassian Bajoran Union. Do they have a Jobs and Family Services department that is able to reach me for family contributions and payroll deductions?
It's like getting hit with child support payments from another universe.
I get we're the bad guys over here in the mirror universe, but kids are still important, and we will not let delinquent parents go. So we would like to establish a exchange program with you to connect funds with appropriate single mothers. Yeah, Jake's a little manipulator. He's not fixing his dad up through people recommending he go. He is just making it seem like it is going to happen. Everybody is in on it, and he is creating a peer pressure on his father to do this thing. Very devious. I like it.
Yeah, well, we'll wait a bit to get to the rest. My favorite contributor to this is Dax. As far as Dax content goes, I think the most fun she ever is when she is fucking with Sisko in some way, because only she can get away with fucking with him, and it happens all the time from this point forward, particularly when it comes to Cassidy Yates. It's like her hobby.
Well, I mean, she fucks with everybody's relationship. She's all in Bashir's business. I feel like she's gotten in the way of what Quark's been trying to do. So I'm waiting for her to start dipping her toe into meddling with Odo and Kira.
So we'll get to that in a bit. We have our opening scene about this mystery woman that apparently is perfect for Ben Sisko, and then we return back to the bar. Like you said, business is good. Nothing good happens when business is good. Nog's not there to help because Nog's studying for his Starfleet exams, and wouldn't you know it, another Ferengi shows up. But not just any Ferengi. It's a Ferengi played by Jeffrey Combs.
It's a special Ferengi.
Yeah, so we're big Jeffrey Combs fans from watching Enterprise. You know, we loved Commander Shran. But it is his appearances in Deep Space Nine for which he is most fondly known as a Trek supporting actor. And this is one of two ongoing recurring characters he actually plays on the show. And this is where we meet Liquidator Brunt. He is an agent of the Ferengi Commerce Authority, which is what I guess passes for police for the Ferengi. And
IRS.
He is here to put notice that Quark is under the eye of Ferengi Sauron and must account for all of his profits and his holdings because he's going to be held legally accountable for something. Bum, bum, bum.
I think the makeup on Brunt is really good too. Like, if I didn't know this was Jeffrey Combs, I would have never picked it out. Like, he is hidden under that makeup.
Yeah, and he struggles more with the teeth than the other two, but it kind of like becomes a character affectation. You know? Like Max Grunschek and Armin Shimmerman are just very good at talking through those teeth ultimately, probably because they just have a lot of reps. Also, I think they probably gave them custom mouthpieces because, you know, they're characters that are on screen a lot, particularly Quark. But yeah, also Jeffrey Combs, good enough actor to act through the makeup, much the same way that Armin Shimmerman is too. And it helps.
I don't know if we talked about it on air or not, but the Ferengi headband that they like, Rom wears one, Nog wears one, I think Brunt wears one. It's like the little cape that hangs off the back of their head. It's a shortcut, so they don't have to make prosthetic pieces for the back.
Makes sense.
Just a flap of fabric. And because Quark is as important as he is to the show, he got the full treatment back there. I really like the Brunt character. I think Combs does a nice job bringing him in as somebody who is antagonistic, but still fits into the trio dynamic. I expect we're going to see more of the three of them interacting in the future.
Oh, you can count on that. Like, he is the bearer of bad news that sets off different Ferengi nonsense episodes.
He seems like, again, like he is external to their family, but this dude still feels like he's also built to suffer. So he will be like, I predict he will be subjected to the nonsense that he has like come to inform them of. In that, I see a good comedy dynamic there. Some Three Stooges stuff. Maybe not that level of physical.
Gosh, you could be right about that, Peter. I don't. Golly gee willikers. I guess we'll never find out.
I like that the entire civilization is steeped in bribes, and he calls it off right at the beginning. Quark's trying to sweet talk him. Quark, who has slipped off of his game by living with the humans, living around the Federation, he has forgotten that everything is bribes, ass kissing, and pandering. And a running joke that'll go through the entire episode is every little thing in Ferengi society costs you something. Using
Correct.
the elevator, extremely expensive. Your alternative is to take the free option, which is 40 flights of stairs. Sitting in a chair costs money. Being informed of what you have been charged of, what formal complaint is being levied against you by the state, access to the offending text in the code, every little thing requires a bribe. And Brunt starts getting annoyed that Quark doesn't just know to go to the bribes automatically, but as Quark interacts more and more with this guy and Frengnar, the old ways warm back up. And the interesting part of lore in this episode for me was that Quark has been gone from Ferengi culture and society essentially for 20 years.
Correct. He has not been home since he left after reaching the age of ascension. So he had his Klingon. He had his Ferengi bar mitzvah, which we already talked about because Nog just recently had his, and then just fucked off and hasn't come back.
So it was what, 13, 15, 18?
I would say that it's more, considering Starfleet Academy is supposed to be college.
Yeah.
Nog is preparing to go now. Let's call it 16, 17. So
that puts that would put Quark at about 30 something.
36, 37. He's in his late 30s.
Do we know what the lifespan? He's not been home
for 20 years.
Yeah, do we know what the lifespan on Ferengi are?
Pretty long. Like Zach is said to be extremely old. But, I think that Quark is clearly he's a middle-aged man, we'll say, roughly. Maybe early middle age.
So the deal is this. Quark is being held accountable as the oldest son for his mother's action. She has broken Ferengi law, and she has earned a profit. And we will go on to understand through this episode that the life of a Ferengi woman is not very desirable by our standards, as exemplified by Rom's outlook on this. Their women are not allowed to leave the house. They have to, they're not allowed to wear clothes. They're not allowed to talk to men outside their family. They chew up the food for their sons and spit it in their mouth like little birds, which I think we saw during the double date with Lisa Turtle. And that there is a general expectation that these women are not, that they're second-class citizens, and everybody's okay with it.
Yeah, it's very reflective of kind of very traditional society attitudes on women in religious circumstances often. Obviously, the clothes thing is done almost for a comedy bit, but other than that, I don't think it's a stretch to say how relatively similar to how Muslim women are typically treated in very conservative countries. Not being able to be outside the house without an escort, having to cover up their entire body, kind of the reverse, right?
Exist on a stipend from the oldest son.
Yeah, there's a responsibility on the part of the oldest son to take care of, any female members of the family who have lost their spouses, particularly your mother. There's some parallels there, and those traditions are born of the same traditions we were talking about earlier in many ways because of the cultural closeness of everyone involved. So there's a real world parallel there that it seems outlandish in the 24th century, but it doesn't seem outlandish to the viewer, right? This is a real thing that happens among humans, at least.
It does. And, this sets the entire ball in motion. Quark is going to have to return home, get to the bottom of what's going on here, or he is going to be financially liable and potentially be excommunicated from Ferengi society on this.
Yeah, it's like a soft excommunication. He would pay restitution, but his bigger concern, as he'll lay out later in a conversation with Ishka, is no one would do business with me ever again. The dishonor would be, in a way, a form of business exile.
These are big stakes for him. He doesn't mention, hey, by the way, I'm on a first name basis with the Nagus.
Right.
I've held the Nagus's staff. I've acted as a voice piece of the Ferengi Alliance. But he has been on thin ice with the Nagus already with the Pell thing, right? And I kind of wish there was that beat of continuity here. I would have liked to see Quark throw Pell in Rom's face, because Rom is the one who ultimately fucked up the entire situation with Pell and outed her as being a woman who was wearing fake lobes and clothes. And like, that was the first taste we got of all these society constraints, right? So Rom being this progressive, like, leave mom alone. We don't need to push these rules so hard. It's like, dude, you were the pitchfork and torch back in the Bondage Clown episodes where we first heard the word Dominion. Like, who the fuck do you think you are here, pal?
Yeah, I agree. There is a bit of lost opportunity for Rom to put Quark a bit in his place to say, oh, well, women making profit were fine as long as you were making out with them, right? Like, that was you in the end, he actually did like basically pay her off to go away and start her life elsewhere. Like,
paid her a lot too.
I
like the scene where
there's a bit of something that could have been brought up. I don't think it changes the episode.
No,
but.
I like Quark swinging by security to talk to Odo. I'm holding you personally accountable for my bar, and that's not really what he's there for. Quark's got one real friend on the station. It's Odo, and he's effectively there to vent.
To someone who probably knows what's going on because he's nosy, knows all about Brunt and what his appearance means, and gives him a chance to bitch. Yes.
So he clears out. I do like the scene with Sisko where we find out that the station commander gets to name new runabouts.
Yes.
He's excited.
I do like also Kira points out, when these things blow up a lot, but the continuity is strong. Like, when one gets destroyed, it does get replaced by a new one. Like, it is noted, like a new one has to be acquired. So they've lost 3 so far. They lost the Ganges. That's the one that got destroyed by the shitty space elves in Armageddon game. They
lost the one with the space the space pope, broke her back.
Yes, they lost the one with the space pope. That was the Yangzeti Kang, and then they lost the Mekong just recently. So those are the 3 destroyed runabouts, and they aren't going to be the last. There are more runabouts to be exploded before we're done.
Rom decides he's going to go back home too. He wants to go see mommy. And this is where we really start getting some great brother physical acting. Just there's such strong chemistry between these 2 actors. It all feels very viable.
Yeah, like you were saying before, like when you brought up Brunt, like they have that chemistry of, they know they're sort of Marx Brother-y physical comedy duo, and it didn't necessarily work as well in Profit Motive, but it works much better here.
I like the views that we get of Fregnar, which we have never gone anywhere near before. Very
Swamp
wet.
Planet. Yeah.
Swamp Planet. It felt very Star Wars to me.
Like Dagobah-ish.
Not Dagobah-ish, but like something out of the Old Republic MMO.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Something like
the
a hut would live on.
Yeah, and I don't think that's coincidental. I don't know who's stealing from who there, but this commerce, swampy vibe is there. The house,
given how much they like eating bugs, it makes sense they're from a swamp planet.
Yeah,
they kind of have like a affectation of a sentient species that evolved by eating protein from tube grubs. You kind of get it.
Very low doorways, very hobbity.
Yeah.
Interesting that they bring Brunt to the house on the first return before they even confront the mother. And I like that there's like the collection box to even enter the house. You have to pay money.
Oh, well, so that was perhaps one of the more fascinating small moments in the episode to me, is there is a ritual to entering someone's home. First, it's Quark's home. Why? Because he's the oldest male in the family. So it's his, right? Unquestioned. There is a call and response as it relates to welcoming Brunt into the home, such that he's, essentially paying for hospitality, but one would presume, of course, that this hospitality would be strictly enforced. He's paid, and therefore he's now permitted to be there and entitled to the good conduct of everyone there, because he has pledged that he's respecting the Quark's ownership of the house and the property therein. They do a pseudo religious symbol, like almost like a prayer, like symbol with their hands. And he actually literally goes over to the box and pays to be there. Um, that is your first element of the truly religious nature of Ferengi society as it relates to their rules, because everyone there is there. No one needs prompting. There's no hesitation. Everyone is treating this very seriously, including Brunt.
They get in. The mom shocks everybody by her audacity of wearing clothing, of trying to talk to Brunt just right off the rip, breaking all the rules unabashedly. I like that Brunt is so offended by what's happening. He's essentially defanged in the moment and can't get the fuck out of there quick enough. And that leaves Quark to basically be like, Mom, what the fuck?
He's scandalized in a way. Again, they're being playful with the reverse, right? You would expect that in a real world parallel, you would, a woman without clothes or not appropriately dressed comes in, I avert my eyes and I must leave.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it's, you have clothes on, and it's the same reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're playing for the absurd laughs. But it works to set the stage for how seriously everyone takes the shit. Like that Brunt, who's a fucking IRS agent, is like, I have to go immediately. I can't be here in front of this woman with clothes on. It's like abhorrent. Ishka Moogie is played by Andrea Martin in this episode. She's another recurring character, Ishka. Obviously, so is Brunt, right? Ferengi nonsense episodes requires more Ferengi. She won't be the person who always plays her. It's primarily going to be it's going to primarily be a different actress later. Andrea Martin's kind of famous. She is close friends with Martin Short, and she's got like a regular bit on Only Murders in the Building, and has been doing stuff since the SCTV days in Canada with him. So she's got like Emmys from comedy writing from back in the like 80s working on that show. So that's her background, and I think it works really well because there's some really good comedy beats throughout the episode, particularly as like kind of these moments where it's like the turn to camera, like facial reaction stuff. And she was the right actress to hire to kind of like pull all that off.
Why do they not use her consistently?
I wouldn't presumes for, availability purposes. I don't know. Maybe we'll get into it when she shows back up later, but she's great in this episode for sure. Also, she's only 2 years older than the guy playing Quark. So of course we got that fun sort of, my mom is played by someone my age.
Hey, who the fuck knows under all that makeup, man? For all I know, it's Jeffrey Combs that's in the Ishka makeup as well. Like,
yeah, he's so good.
The Ferengi stuff is so thick, you can't see what's through there. There's nothing not to like about this lady, right? And you know exactly what the story's going to be here. It's not 3 bars of So the offense is that she has taken some of the stipend that Quark gave her. She invested it and she turned a profit. Quark thinks it's only 3 bars, which we went through the value
the Ferengi Commerce Authority thinks it's only 3 bars. That's when it's in the accusation. Quark finds out that it's more later because he investigates like he did in House of Quark, because we know he's a good bookkeeper and he can find out financial crimes pretty easily.
But it starts over this 3. I think it's pretty clear there's going to be more. But I guess there's kind of a little reversal there. She stands on principle. And that's a very 90s thing to stand on. She's like, this is bullshit. We're second-class citizens. Women are just as capable as men. This system is rigged against us, and it's unfair that I have to live my life like this. I did it under your father, and basically with him gone, I don't feel the need to pretend anymore, and I'm going to live my own life. Once Quark goes off to rat her out because her unwillingness to compromise on her morals, that's when we find out that is significantly more. This lady's a real power player. She has amassed, just from the amount that Quark is able to see, which I think we can fairly say that he only, from the time he puts in, discovers 1/3 of what her total net worth is.
Correct.
Even at 1/3, she has wildly surpassed what he has been able to do in business. Because he says, like, I love the trauma on him. Like, as he realizes that this woman has just cost him everything, because she is not going to sign the document and return the funds. She's going to be sold off into slavery, essentially. And
Yep.
he is going to have to pay back the state a restitution for all of her profit damages. And he says it's going to ruin him. Even if he sells the bar and everything else he owns, he will not have enough money once he liquidates to cover her offenses.
It's essentially a Ferengi death penalty, right? When you really think about it from a cultural perspective. And Quark treats it with a prerequisite level of seriousness. He lays out the stakes to Ishka very explicitly. Like, I wouldn't do business with me. I'll be, even if I could pay all this restitution, I would just be a pariah forever, because everyone will know that we broke the laws. And so that means no one deals with me. Because, by the way, I'm in charge of the family, Mom. I have to bear the consequences of your actions. And that's why we're here. And of course, we're sympathetic to Ishka's perspective, because it's incredibly unfair that she's being treated like a second-class citizen, that she's not able to turn a profit investing the, as she puts it, very generous stipend that her son provides for her living, and has been successful in business because she has the lobes for it. It shouldn't be that way. And we, the viewer, are supposed to feel that way. And they allow those two things to lie in tension in the episode without like making either side seem completely unreasonable, which Rom literally gives voice to near the end, right? When he's trying to settle their dispute.
But what I like is once he comes back from the IRS tower, because Rom's like, listen, don't turn Mother in. You're going to ruin the family. She said she's willing to split everything with you 50-50. Now Quark's greed kicks in. Now maybe there's a way for us to con the system. This is so much. She has earned so much money, even at a third of what the true value is. All of a sudden, he's willing to compromise.
He gets back. It's more than his net worth. Wouldn't you want to like get into business for extra 50% of net worth? Fuck yeah.
He comes back to reconcile with Mom, and it's the classic TV. Like, we are only at the meeting table because the negotiator between us has lied to both of us. Rom has lied to her about the terms. He's lied to Quark about the terms. And as they have found out, they have both been duped in talking. Cat claws come out. And this is a turning point for Ishka, because it's no longer just about morals. She has made serious money. She is a for real Ferengi. And she is not going to give them ducats up. Like, the claws come out and they go directly into Quark's ass, because it's no longer like, son, you should want me to be happy. Son, equality. She's like, you're pissed because I'm better than you. You suck like your dad sucked, and I'm a fucking superstar, and you are jealous of all of this money. Well, I'm stacking Latinum to the ceiling, son. More Latinum, more problems.
Let's pause for a second, because I actually really want to get into the family dynamic stuff that comes out in the conversations that Ishka has first with Rom and then with Quark, and like how that plays out and how their family is sort of described, because I think that's very interesting. Mm-hmm. But let's like do the B plot real quick, because it's not a lot. It's not a lot of actual like time on screen, but it is important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Sisko goes to ops. Oh, hey, we got to name our new runabout. Oh, let's call it the Rubicon, because we're not done with our Caesar references quite yet, you know, and he gives like a knowing smile. And that's when Dax shows up. And again, Dax as the playful imp, as the shit stirrer, as a fun wild card, is where she shines. And she like kind of like gets real close, you know, to Sisko, so they can have like a conversation in the middle of ops, but you know, have it between the two of them without anybody necessarily listening. And she's kind of got this sort of like, you know, she positions herself physically so that he can't really escape from having the conversation. Not that he couldn't, like, you know, escape her grasp, but you know, she's making a real point of it. And he's like, hey, you talked to her yet? And it's like, you can see the Curzon, right? Like you can see this is your old bro. This is your old friend who's here to give you some shit, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And he's like, well, you know, she seems interesting. Looking forward to meet her. Finds out that Dax is in on it. with all of this.
Dax,
And
Jadzia, I know you want what's best for me. I know you think I need a date, but I have to tell you.
fuck the evil version of you.
When I was over there, I used all the cum, Dax, all of it, on you. Dax, on her. Everybody. I need to recharge.
It's the sort of shit that Dax gets away with. Like, is there like bro down moments? And it's funny because she's a chick now, right? And she's still kind of acting like the person that Sisko used to know, and Sisko recognizes that it's part of her. And like, what'd you think of her? Well, if I were Curzon, I'd have stolen her already. I'm trying to tell you, man, like, this bitch is for you. Like, get on it. I know you. This is the lady you need.
It's the maybe the straw that breaks a camel's back, because eventually, there is the encounter of Bashir and O'Brien trying to break the door lock off of
with Odo.
Odo's standing there, and they want their dartboard back. And it's unfair that Quark just left, and the dartboard that they hung up on the wall in a place that isn't theirs is in there. And sure, they could just replicate another one, but apparently this one is lucky, and it's a big deal. So they would rather just B&E, because that's what DS9 crew members are there for, is to do crimes. This is a genie that I think this scene is there to reinforce, like, these guys are no longer lawful. We have broken direct orders enough time that this is a do what you want station, while the law sits there and watches. And they would rather just stand there with O'Brien with his sleeves rolled up, trying to pick a lock in broad daylight.
Yes.
And Starfleet administration of this place with the law is there trying to break into this fucking quarantined place. And it's like, man, I get what they're doing here, but like, the opportunities for this specific talent pool, you have a guy trying to open a door because his thing is in there. This is the same guy who ran the transporter on the Enterprise D.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to just beam the fucking board out of there. You're talking to a guy who could turn into goo and just slide through the cracks in the floor and like
just I mean, actually, they should have brought up the again. It's right. Write it on your hand, right? Bring up the transporter, spackle the transporter.
Here we go. Right. All right. You're going to love this one too. Well, it's our lucky dartboard. And if you transport it, it breaks the luck. We recognize that the transporter kills people's souls, and we in the Federation are willing to sacrifice those for planetary transportation, but not the lucky dartboard. That thing's been seasoned. You don't transport dartboards, and you don't transport cast iron skillets. Ruins the flavor.
No, ruins the flavor. Yeah, absolutely. That would actually happen. If Strange New Worlds did exactly one thing interesting ever, it is the episode when they were having Lon and number one run through like the list of things that like new Enterprise crew members do that are like a little, sketchy. And one is chewing gum while being transported to see if the flavor reignites when it's reconstituted in your mouth.
I forgot about that. That was
excellent. And it did. Like, Lon's the one who gets transported and goes, "Oh my God, it tastes great. It's back."
Like, we are just copies of ourselves. We're not real.
So yeah, you could definitely never transport a cast iron skillet. It would totally ruin it.
In the 24th century, chewing gum on the actually, gum has been forbidden in the Federation. It is a terrible, inconvenient truth that has caused several colonial uprisings. Is Kai Wynn really wrong for rejecting the atheism of the Federation? For trying to shelter Bajor?
Kai Wynn secretly that should be our spicy take. Kai Wynn did nothing wrong. I'd get us some notice.
Spicy take or just blatant being wrong?
The B plot eventually finally brings you to meeting Cassidy Yates.
Speaking of transporters, who is still using a Mark III transporter.
A Mark V instead of a new Mark 7.
That was a 2 generation behind. A lot of good continuity, or I would say world building here. So her crew is trying to load up the shuttlecraft or whatever their transport is. Instantly, I'm like, this is ridiculous. They're hand loading this. Like, nobody's got a pallet jack. And even like one of the guys falls over and she's like, oh,
get a pallet jack.
Rango, go get a anti-grav sled. And I'm like, actually, anti-grav technology doesn't work in Deep Space Nine, as mentioned Melora. And before I could have my nerd moment with the screen, Sisko's in there like, why don't you just transport it all in? And she's like, because we're poor. We're working for the Batarians from... Is that what they said was Batarians? From fucking Mass Effect, those trashy...
Oh, yeah, those guys were awful. Yeah.
They were awful. I hated the Batarians. I killed so many.
Yeah, we see you kill them a lot, though. Yeah.
And we are introduced...
Penny Johnson, again, like, this is like an episode of like, hey, does this show have enough supporting characters? You had enough people that show up all the time? Here's 3 fucking more for you to meet at once. Don't worry, they'll all show back up again, several times. And Penny Johnson, as noted, she plays the chief medical officer on the Orville, but this is where she got her start in sci-fi, playing Cassidy Yates. And so she becomes a fixture from this point forward.
Very difficult to watch her in these scenes because she plays the doctor on the Orville so well. She plays reasonable, professional, single mother on the Orville. And she's obviously older in age on the Orville, and the character works phenomenally well. So seeing her back here, younger, and I don't know what vibe they're going for exactly.
Space trucker. She's kind of like lives on the frontier, doesn't take any shit from anybody, runs her own crew. Kind of perfect for Sisko in a way, because he needs somebody that sort of bites back at him a little bit. And you know, the joke here being like Jake found one other black person in space, made sure his dad wound up with her. But jokes aside, like, Jake's got a good read. Like, what does my father require? Not
Baseball.
a wilting flower. Not a wilting
Baseball.
flower. Somebody with a personality. Somebody that can fight back a little bit and jib and jab with him and be a good, like, verbal sparring partner. And then, yeah, they're the 2 people in the galaxy that know about baseball. They have a shared interest.
Her hair is so distracting.
Yeah,
she has a whole fucking Darth Vader helmet for a haircut.
It's real bad.
It is as wide as it is tall. It looks like somehow she went to the replicator and said, make me a wig that looks like the hair from Murderface in Metalocalypse.
Yeah, they definitely find better hair for her. We'll put it that way. This was a one and done on this look.
Thankfully.
Not great.
Thankfully. They connect she actually is the one who invites him for coffee. He makes the comment about the transporter. She's like, we got this covered. He kind of slinks off. She hits him with the, hey, let's go grab coffee. Oh, damn, I forgot. I didn't check my schedule. There's a communique coming in from my brother, and I told him I'd listen to it live. Cool world building again, like whatever colony he is at, this communique has taken 2 weeks to reach them by subspace. That is how big Federation territory is. Finds out that it's a baseball transmission. Boy, isn't this lady right up Sisko's alley. And they go back to her quarters or whatever to listen to the game.
Yeah, they get to listen to a radio, basically a baseball game on the radio, right? Like, that's ultimately what's being transmitted. And I loved about baseball, as if it's this artifact of history. Like, they're both history nerds about something esoteric that they've never met another person that knows about it.
What if I told you space aliens that were fucking with us manifested on this station as Buckaroo Banzai or whatever?
Bucko Kai.
And I have his baseball still on my table. And she's like, that's a crazy. He's like, I didn't even tell you about the Rumpelstiltskin part. You should live here with me. We can do all sorts of fucking baseball nonsense. I'm waiting for the episode where he gets a baseball bat and hits a Jemadar with one. And if you tell me that never happens...
I did like the very first conversation to have about baseball as a fan of baseball is, did they use the DH or not? And Cassidy Yates is like, of course not. They make the pitchers hit. What is this? What is this nonsense? DH. Get out of here with that. which is the correct answer, by the way.
If you say so. With sports, just I'm going to go back to
it's like
assaulting
just
Gemini.
For you. It's fine.
Yeah, that's all.
Anyway, back to the main plot.
So back to the main plot. Again, Quark is absolutely traumatized by the discovery that his mother has not only broken the law to the degree she has, but humiliated him in terms of earning. They have their final blow up. Where
can we talk about her conversation with Rom first? Because I think like that happens first chronologically, and I think it's like important to get the feel for how she connects with each of her sons and like the story you get about their family as a consequence of all the conversations. Mm-hmm. So first Rom comes in. Rom's clearly more childlike, right? He's like more comforted by her
he is
physically.
The baby of the family, and she is willing to take her clothes off to make him happy. She has told everybody else no, because they have wanted her to be naked out of societal norm. She is willing to indulge Rom because it would make him feel better, and he's the baby. Having a hard time. Yeah.
And sharpens his teeth for him, and she connects with him like, you're a good brother, like you're always the more nurturing like member of the family. He tries to reason with her relative to like Quark is really just trying to deal with the situation, trying to represent Quark's position in a way that's pretty reasonable. And
which is a big deal too, because every time they're in the same room together, Rom is fighting Quark. So Rom advocating for Quark's agenda in private, it is a good show.
And it's clear these two are very close. And we find out that the reason for it later on is that while Quark left immediately after he reached the Age of Ascension, Rom stuck around for a decade longer. So he was at home longer, and he has probably a much closer relationship with his mother as a consequence. Makes sense. Then we get the conversation with Quark and Ishka, where Ishka says a lot of things that are pretty hurtful and centers more now on the absent deceased father. He thinks that his father wasn't as successful as he could have been because he was burdened by having to deal with Ishka being a Ferengi woman who didn't understand her limits, which he brings up, right? Like, I understand you're not like other females. You like to have opinions about things. You like to
have thoughts.
And she's like, is that a accusation or a compliment? And he said, it's just a fact, right? Like, I'm not even going to go there with you right now, Mom. But when he's talking to Rom about it, he's like, Dad was held back by having to like keep her like under control. And I remember him sitting in that chair and being like, I don't know what to do with this female. And, trying to like prevent her from breaking all of these societal rules. And that's what he thinks he was held back by. And then Ishka makes it clear, I was like, no, your father was kind of shitty at business. And I kept trying to help him. I would give him advice. I offered to assist him and he wouldn't take it. And to Quark, this is awful. Like, I was always put myself in the position that he was busy and distracted by you, which is why he never made much profit. And now you're telling me actually you tried to help him and he was just incompetent. And when he storms out in the aftermath of that, Rom tells him it's true, essentially, of like, Dad never was very good at making money. He couldn't. The only way he would have found Latinum is if you sewed it into his pants. Which, from coming from him, it has to be true, right? Like, so the truth of the matter is, Quark's idealistic version of his dad isn't accurate. When it comes back together and Quark and Ishka finally kind of make peace, is when Ishka says, your father was actually, I loved him and he loved me and he loved all of you. He was a good dad. He was a good husband.
Do we find out how he dies?
I don't think we do. It is not a detail that I think ever actually gets shared. That's strange. I don't remember anyway. I guess I'll be surprised, pleasantly surprised if they bring it up, but to my knowledge, no. I don't think that they ever mention his cause of death. Yeah, he's only mentioned in dialogue. I'm looking at the actual
Memory Alpha.
Yeah, he's dead at the beginning of the story.
they reconcile. uh, Finally, Ishika's like, okay, well, I'm going to ruin the family. I get that. And like, I've created an unfair hardship on my sons. Ultimately, I love my sons more than I love my profit insofar as they are aware of, at least Quark is. So I will surrender 1/3 of my total net worth to make this go away. These stupid men are unable to find the other 2/3 that I have secured, and I will only bury that deeper. Rom knows all the truth.
Yes.
This mama boy, this mother child is in on all the dirt. And they keep it a big secret from Quark, who leaves to go back to Deep Space Nine, content with thinking that the problem has been solved, and potentially more importantly, that he has reconnected with his mother after this 20-year departure. So this is a story not only about Quark fixing a problem financially with the law, but also fixing a problem with the rift that existed in their household. And they don't really say in this like why Quark was so fast to try to escape the home, if it was the mother's behavior that ran him off. And he does mention in here too, like, we used to get teased about mom. Like there's some Ferengi trauma about the way she acts. Like your mom
that's why his father was probably like at his wit's end of like, she played fast and loose with Ferengi rules for so long.
She talks to strangers. She does this. She does that.
Yeah.
So off they go, but not before bribing Brunt to keep the whole fucking thing quiet. And that's a nice return to form for the way that Quark has been able to fix his problems with women in Ferengi culture. And it is to take the avenue to report his problems to the masses and implicate or bribe them into keeping their mouth shut. He had to do it with Nagus over Pell and saying, you think you're going to ruin me, but you got by her as well, and you've got a lot more to lose in this than I do. And with Brunt specifically, he just flat out bribes him into shutting his mouth. So, problem solved, so to speak.
It's a nice episode to drop a lot of lore into, to kind of invest you in the culture and journey of some major figures on the show. I think that's always going to be important, but this is the good side of the Ferengi episodes, is when it's played for laughs. There's some yucks in here, definitely happening, but we tell a good story. It has enough real life parallels and emotional resonance that it carries you through and ends up being a good entry that establishes lore, that feeds on the existing kind of things that we know about the personalities of these characters. It helps them build and helps you understand what's going on, and gives you more supporting characters to help flesh that out in the future. So,
is there anything you want to say to Renee's directorial style here?
Oh, that's an interesting point. I looked that up. He ends up directing, I think, 8 or 9 episodes of the series overall. No, it's 8. And he has 3 total Ferengi episodes. So they kind of, he's done 2 of them already, Profit Motive and Family Business. So he's got another Ferengi episode later. And then, well, I would say, ooh, wow. It's kind of, the topics of his episodes vary wildly. From like really serious psychological stuff to some of the more silly entries of the series. Style wise, he seems to, I don't know, looking at just the 2 episodes we've seen so far, Profit Motive and Family Business, he definitely knows how to get Rom and Quark to do the Marx Brothers thing, right? To like how to do physical comedy and be funny on screen together. Aside from that, like Family Business in particular is good at in-frame comedy shots, particularly like timing people looking into camera in a way, like kind of like putting things together in a symmetrical fashion that kind of plays with a joke, particularly with Rom. I'm not sure that's a style thing so much as just like kind of what some of this called for. So as we move on, I guess we can check to see if there's something about him as a director we can detect, but nothing jumps out at me. How about you?
I'm just interested that they've paired him so far with the Ferengi episodes, and I think that's a good choice given the amount of work that he has had with Quark, and seeing the way that Armin portrays what Ferengi is by the architect of Ferengi, and then as someone working closely with that, scaling it up for these episodes. I think it's worked out very well. But moving in from here, we're going to be going to season 3, episode 24, Shakaar. The thumbnail appears to be a screenshot from Hey Dude. Kira's old resistance leader's refusal to return some farming equipment to the Bajoran government nearly starts a civil war. Boy, this sounds like a Parks and Rec episode.
Let's head down to Azeroth and see if we can have some criminal activity break out.
Yo, dog. I heard you like episodes about the ex-militia terrorist interacting with farmers. So I put the ex-militia terrorist in another episode with a farmer.
So this does do some fun shit with what we've been talking about as it relates to Bajor and its government and Kai Wynn and all that stuff. So as much as perhaps it takes place on the Hey Dude Ranch, there's some very good content that is going to come from this as it relates to all of those questions. So
by this thumbnail, by the way, I'm very interested to see that fence posts on Bajor look exactly the same as America, and that they also have the exact same design for wheelbarrows. It's like
some things are just universal. It's like
padlocks in Battlestar Galactica.
What do they call it? They actually called this out in an episode of TOS of someone's theory of parallel cultural development or something to like satisfy for the question of why does everyone's wheelbarrows look the same. So at least there is spackle from the 60s, at least for that.
There's a right way to make a wheelbarrow and there's a wrong way. And all the people who did it the wrong way, they died. This is a galactic Darwinism. Every other iteration of the wheelbarrow results with the user's death.
And that's one of the surefire ways to prove that you are not a species that's going to fall to you're designing the wrong wheelbarrow is to listen to our podcast. I don't know. That was a terrible transition out of the show. So I'm just going to let the theme music come on now and we'll just see you next week.